Hey members, today is a beautiful day so far. We'll see if it stays that way into the afternoon and evening. This is a pre-recorded video, so I hope when you see this, it's a nice day, the whole day for you. Today's Mobility Monday, so we're going to go over some different mobility warm-up techniques that you can use. We're going to start off by initiating a deep squat, and we're going to go into a reach over. So when I say a deep squat, it's going to look different for different people. For me, a deep squat, I can get pretty low. I'm just going to hold it. I can rock back and forth over one ankle at a time to loosen up, right? I can really focus on one ankle, move my knee in and out, lean over the other side, trying to keep that heel down, right? So once you're here for, a minute or two, just kind of getting loose and seeing what you can do, we're going to initiate with a reach back. You're going to reach over and back and then do a glute bridge, okay? So I'm going to show you a side view of what that looks like. So you're going to be in your deep squat, and you can use a chair or a table to support yourself if you don't have the mobility and stability to get into this position. So once you're down here, you're going to reach behind you. You're going to plant your hand, and you're going to drive through your hips, reach all the way back. Okay? Come down to the middle, bring your hand back, and you can switch sides. So again, reaching up and over, plant the hand. Hips up towards the ceiling or sky, reach with that hand back, okay? This is an awesome hip stretch. It's a good way to engage the glutes, stretch the pecs, just really engage the thoracic spine mobility, right? It's a good full body warm up. So after that, we're gonna start into our next exercise, which is a lunge with overhead reach. With mobility warm-ups, if you're inside or on a safe and clean area, I really like working out barefoot, so it's appropriate that we're by the pool now. It just helps you feel the ground out a little bit more, and who doesn't like having their shoes off? So you're gonna plant your feet, sit into that lunge, you're gonna go overhead and reach, okay? So really get a nice stretch in there. You can do both sides. I like focusing on the arm of the leg that's in the back, right? So if my right foot's back, my right arm is reaching up and over. You can go ahead and switch sides. If you want a little bit more of a challenge and less of a like a mobility stretch warm-up, and you want to really challenge your leg strength, you can go into a deeper lunge. And I really feel that in my hips. So try both. Try changing it to see what suits you best, and we'll go from there, okay? So next we're going to do some what are called toe pulls. This is a great exercise for ankle mobility. So what you do in toe pulls, you're going to have to be either in socks or barefoot. So if you still have your shoes on at this point, take them off. Keep your socks on if you want, take them off, whatever. You're going to support yourself on something. I'm going to use this chair, right? Because if you, for whatever the reason, lose balance, it could be a little bit dangerous for your ankle, right? So what you're going to do is you're actually going to take your foot and you're going to point it down towards the ground, and you're literally just going to push into the tops of your toes into the ground, right? So you can change the angle. Here I have my foot internally rotated, and then I'm putting my pinky toes and the middle toes on the ground. I'm putting a little bit of force down, so I'm forcing them into plantar flexion and then pulling. So I'm actually stretching the top of my ankle here, okay? You want to make sure whatever you do on that one foot, you're doing the exact same thing to the other foot. Now, if you know for a fact that one ankle is more or less mobile than the other ankle, you want to spend a little bit more time on the less mobile ankle, right? You want to really spend some time to loosen that ankle up. For the final two exercises, they both involve your hips, just like most of the other ones we've done today. We're going to start off with a stretch, and then we're going to go into a mobility practice, something that you may have seen if you've been screened by one of our TPI certified professionals here. We're going to go ahead, and this is just a static stretch, popular with kickboxers. You're going to lift and place your leg forward, so your foot is still pointing forward, and you're just abducting your leg, so moving it away from the center line of your body. From here, you're going to stand up nice and tall and try to keep a neutral spine. So just having that spine neutral and lifting that leg off to the side. I'm feeling a slight stretch here on the inside of my thigh, my adductors, and my hip, okay, my hip flexors. So from here, you can see, because I'm using a chair, I have now 3 different potential levels of a stretch here, right? So I have a slightly more increased stretch. If I use the back of the chair, I'll have a very greater degree of stretch, right? Okay, don't worry, we sanitize these chairs before you use them, so you don't have to worry about my ankles being all over the chairs. So after we do that, you're gonna go ahead and just do some pelvic tilts, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're going to cross your arms. You're gonna hinge forward at the hips, okay? So you're hinging forward here, and then the goal is to just tilt your pelvis up and under and out and back, okay? So you're changing, if you have a hard time visualizing that, tilting your pelvis under and back, you can think about your lower back angle, right? So here you see my back, it's pretty relatively straight, and then I'm gonna pull my shirt for you a little bit. So you're here, posterior pelvic tilt, right? You see my lower back rounding out. I'm engaging my abs here. Anterior pelvic tilt, which is what we deal with mostly sitting at computers so much, increases the angle here. I'm feeling a sensation in my hip flexors. My hamstrings are getting stretched, okay? So working on that anterior posterior pelvic tilt will help you realize, what you're doing when you're either golfing or you're stretching your hamstrings. That anterior pelvic tilt can help. If you're using the glutes or experiencing back pain, sometimes being able to get into that posterior pelvic tilted position can really help alleviate some of that tension in your lower back. If you have any questions about how to use any of these exercises, feel free to email me. I recommend spending about 1 to 3 minutes on each exercise. Make sure you're splitting that time in half and working on both sides of the body. For example, the lunges, alternating arms on the squat and reach behind, spending equal time on the ankles unless you fit into one of those categories as we discussed previously. And same thing, switch the sides on the leg stretches, and you really can only control your pelvis unilaterally. So like the whole thing moves as one unit, so you can spend the entire time just with that stretch. If you have any questions, again, email me at joelbaker@philadelphiacc.net, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Thank you, bye.